Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Prep Life Podcast. This is your founder and CEO of Glam Girl Bikini, Amy Anger. And today I am joined by two amazing people. First of all, Coach Lee Marie Hassetter. And,
Fun.
and secondly, we have a very special guest, Dustee Gutierrez. Did I say your last name right, Dustee?
Yes, you did. Gutierrez. Yeah. Just got to
Gutierrez.
roll the
That's
R.
very,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I kind of sounded like a gringo when I said
No,
it
you're
was good.
fine. You're fine.
So I'm so glad that you're on today, and I'm very excited to hear all about everything. Can you, first of all, just share with our listeners a little bit of your background? So, where you're living right now, kind of what you do
Okay.
for a living, and your family, and all that.
Well, I'm originally from Arkansas. That's where I was
Okay.
born. My parents divorced at an early age, and then we moved to Houston, my mom and I. And I never really moved away from Texas since then, and that was years ago. I ended up going to college here in Texas, and then ended up moving back into the city of Houston as well after college, and met my husband, got married, had two kids. And actually before that, I competed in my 20s, my early 20s, like kind of
Oh, okay.
during the time that I was in college.
Okay.
Also when I cheered for the Rockets, I cheered for the championship Rockets basketball team here in Houston. It's been like 30 years since we've won. And when I cheered is when we won. So, I mean, it's crazy. It's an
Oh,
NBA
wow.
basketball team. Yeah, so they have not won since. They're getting better. They're getting better. Our baseball team here in Houston's awesome, but our basketball needs to, they're getting there again. But so yeah, I did that, and then I competed as well. I did the Miss Fitness USA, and I also did the Galaxy. I also did when I was in college. I tried out for the American Gladiator. Don't know if y'all even know what that is,
Yes, I
but
totally do. I used to watch that. I
yeah,
love
that was
that.
kind of
That's
like
amazing.
one of
A
those
Ninja
neat shows.
Warrior.
Yeah, Oh
My like
kind
God.
of. Yeah.
The early
Now you
days.
have, yeah, the bigger one on TV that you see. But yeah, so I did that. And so then, like I said, I got married, kind of got pulled away from competing with a boyfriend that I had
Okay.
at the time, and kind of took me away from it. I kind of had a dream of like moving to California and like pursuing my career fitness and stuff there at that time. That's kind of like when Monica Brandt was big. I don't know if y'all know Monica Brandt,
Yeah,
but
she
she
was
was
kind of
very
who I was
popular.
inspired by.
Yeah, she was
Yeah,
very popular in my time. So
yeah.
her and Tatiana Anderson. So I did like the
Mhm.
routines and stuff, like, where I tumbled and I did that. So it was just a completely different kind of shows. Like we would wear all the same color suits when we'd go on
Mhm.
stage to be compared.
And a
I mean,
single, right?
yeah,
A singlet
actually, no, it
or
was
a
a two
one piece?
piece. It was a
Oh,
two
okay.
piece. Yeah, and it was very interesting. I mean, you stood there and you turned and turned. I mean, it was just very like military like. It was just different um, than it is today. So what happened is after I got married and I had my two kids grew up, and now one is a senior in high school and she's a girl, and then my other is a boy and his name's Antonio, and he is a sophomore in college. And so now at this time, almost 2 years ago, I decided to go watch a show because my kids are so self-independent now. And I really kind of wanted to just see what the shows were like again. So I went to a show here in Houston, not too far from the city in Stafford. And I went with my husband that I've been married to for 20 years. And we sat down and I was like, oh, wow, this is so cool. It's just so neat to see this again. And I've never stopped working out. I mean, I've always worked out, always. Maybe not so hard with the weights, but I always have like,
Yeah.
incorporated that into my daily routine. It's kind of like brushing your teeth. So
Yeah.
that's always been a part of my life. I mean, even since I was like in ninth grade, and that's kind of where it all started. And my parents used to think, oh, you're so weird. Why do you like to work out? Why do you like to eat good? And, I'm from the South. So, everything was like fried chicken and, just all the just fattening food, But
Yeah.
anyways, so yeah, so I went to the show and we sat there, and this lady that was sitting in front of me, I just kept overhearing her talking, and she sounded just really poised and like she knew what she was talking about. And So I leaned over and I was like, what's your name? And so she introduced herself, and sure enough, she's my actual fitness coach now.
Oh,
She's an,
wow.
yeah, she's an owner of a gym in Weatherford, Texas. Her name's Kelly Martinez. And she's the one that kind of inspired me to get back into doing it again.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was watching the show and I was inspired, by the girls that were on the stage. And I was like, clapping for all the ones that, everybody that was up there. And there were so many stories of the girls, some had lost like, 100 pounds, 50 pounds. Some had just, that's just what they like to do. And that's just what they did all the time. So
Yeah.
there's just different storylines. And I just was like, you know what? Why am I not doing this anymore? And I'm just like, I need to get back into this. So I got the bug. And so I started immediately with Kelly. And then she introduced me at another show that I went and watched, that Kelly was at, to my posing coach. And my
Okay.
posing coach is Brittany Cooper, and she actually lives in Bodega, Texas, which is kind of up east, kind of closer to Oklahoma state line.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so I met her, and they actually are both pros. So, um, and so I just kind of went underneath both of their wings, and and I'm very loyal, and once I met them and got kind of, to know them, and started competing, and, they'd go to some shows and some shows they wouldn't. And I just, kept with them consistently. I mean, I meet with my posing coach twice a week. And then I speak with my fitness coach at least once a week. I mean, and then also she gives me my plan of what I'm doing. So that was like, it's almost been 2 years exactly, April, that I actually started competing. And when I did start competing, I got the bug, and I just kept going and going and going. And I just kind of never stopped. And I did like 20, almost 23 shows. And that's with one NFF show. That's the one that I actually started with, was the Natural Fit Federation. So I
Okay.
actually started with that one, and I actually did okay with it. But then there was one show that they were like, you know what, you should do NPC.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay. And I actually got tested at that one too, because they did random testing. And, I think because I'm very muscular, like people think that I do stuff, but I don't do anything. And so I got tested, and it, came back fine and all that. But they were like, you know what, Dusty, you might should try NPC. So that's when I went to NPC. I'm like, I'm going to try it. But my coaches were like, there's tons of girls, that do these shows. And I'm like, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to do it. I don't care. I'm going to try it. So that's what I did. And I just have really fell in love with just people that I met, being sponsored by Angel Competition Bikinis. And then, you know, Let's Get Serious Activewear. I'm also ambassador for them, and just neat people. And I was like, this is where I belong. You know what? I need to be doing this, so when my kids leave, I have something to do. So
Yeah.
I am a real estate agent on the side. I do
Okay.
that part time. And like, I've always like given my kids a lot of my focus. So these last few years, they've been so independent and doing their own things with their friends. Your friends become so important in high school. And
Yes.
mom and dad are kind of pushed to the wayside. Not in
Uh-huh.
a bad way. It's a good thing. I mean, I think
Yeah.
we've done our job.
Mhm.
So I'm just really excited. It's just been really neat to make, new friends of all ages, which has been neat because I'm 53, and I feel better than I ever have, since I was, younger. I mean, I don't feel like I am the age I am. And I even think about, like, I mean, when I hear of people passing away, I always like look and like, how old are they? And I'm like, oh my God, like, anything can happen to anybody at any time. It doesn't matter how healthy you are. It doesn't matter. But at the same time, I want to live a healthy life, and that's the way I choose to live. And every day I get up, I mean, I don't want to drink. I don't want to, eat bad. That's just not, it's not in my to-do list. I mean,
Fair.
so I just like the way it makes me feel. I always have. And that's just my life. And then that's it. And fortunately, the husband that I have has been completely so there for me. He's been to almost every show, always there for me. He even went on I just went on a cruise with Angel Competition Bikinis,
Uh-huh.
and he went with me, and he was like one of the only husbands that went on the trip. And so he got to meet, all the girls. And I mean, he's such a, I mean, it makes me so happy that he lets me do whatever I want to do. And that's the way your
Yeah,
partner should be. So,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. So you're a pro, you're an IFBB pro, and
Yes.
can you
Yeah.
share with our audience what competition you earned pro status at?
Yes, I did the North Americans, and I think it was the North American, the Masters Nationals. Yeah, Masters Nationals is where I got it. And it was I think it was in September. Yeah, it was in September because the Worlds was at the same time. And it was in Pittsburgh. And so I did that one. And then that's where I got my pro card, which I was in complete awe. I couldn't believe it. It was amazing. The feeling of actually competing like I did, so back to back, and then
Mhm.
finally winning my pro card was the most amazing feeling. It was almost surreal. I didn't even believe it was happening. There was another girl backstage that like won her group, and she was just like in awe. I was like, I totally get what you're feeling. You don't really understand unless you actually are in our position when you compete like we do, and you go through so many highs and lows of like, why am I doing this?
Mhm.
Sometimes you just think, because you look around and you're not like other people. We're not like other people. We are only 1% of this population that likes to work out. Everybody else is doing whatever they want, eating whatever they want. I mean, it's just like, and we're so like disciplined, strict, motivated. I mean, it's just, we are, we can do anything we want. I mean, and because we have this such focus, discipline, and rigor, activity of what we do every day, that I think that it doesn't matter whatever we wanted to do, we could do it, because that's
Yeah.
just how all of us are. And every time I meet someone that's in this doing this as well, it's the same thing. I mean, they're just go-getters. Everybody that I
Yeah.
meet are go-getters, good people, and they're all down to earth. And that's another thing, because both of my kids go to private schools, and I meet a lot of different kinds of people. I mean, from your, you know, low to high, I mean, different kinds of, categories of people. And I just think that meeting people in the health and fitness industry, they are just so warming and welcoming and down to earth and real people. And that's the kind of people I like to be around.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
I started following your journey. I think in April you had competed with our scholarship bikini athlete. She had won our scholarship, and you and her were in the same height class. And I started following you, and because I was admiring your physique. I think it was a regional show in Houston that you had done
Okay.
with
Yeah.
her. Her name's
Okay.
Shara. She was in a green
I
suit.
think
I
I
don't know
met
if you
her.
remember her.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
met her
real
backstage.
tall.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Huh?
Yeah, so you guys competed, and then I was kind of following you, and it seemed like you had done kind of the, master's gauntlet where you did universe, and I think you came pretty close to your
I
pro
got
card
second.
there too. You got second,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
50. Yeah, and then you're saying, so you said that you earned your pro card in September, so that might have been North Americans because it
Yeah.
goes
Yeah, it
Masters
was. Yeah,
Nationals
you're
was
right. That's what it was.
the
Masters
one in
Nationals.
July.
I did so many, I don't even know what I've done. I know I won it
Yeah.
somewhere in there. I know I got second, and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to do the next one. And so I did the next one, and
Which was 3 weeks later. So that was
yes.
Masters
Yeah.
Nationals. How'd you do at Masters Nationals then?
That's the one that I got my pro card. Yeah, no,
Okay.
wait, North.
So you didn't do North
No, it
Americans in
wasn't North America.
September.
It was Masters Nationals where I got my
Okay.
yes, because North Americans I got second. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because North Americans would be after Masters Nationals, so that's why I
Okay,
was a
then
little
it was North
confused.
Americans. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
whatever order it is, the second one. Yeah, because
Okay.
there's
So
so
you
many
got
you can do.
second, and then you won your pro card.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And how many height classes were there in 50 plus at that time? Do you know?
Gosh,
What
there
were
was a
you?
lot. I'm 5'3.5".
So you're a
So
B, maybe?
yes, I'm kind of
Okay.
like in that. Yeah, there's one below me. there's one that's shorter than me, and then in
Yeah.
mine, and there's one that's 5'4" or 5'5", and
I
then
think it
five
goes to D.
six. Yeah, it goes
Yeah.
actually, there was a lot. There was a lot
There
of
are a
different,
lot. Yeah.
yeah.
50 has been growing so much, that category. I mean, I've seen that go from, 5 people in a category to now it's like close upwards of 20, 30 in some of those shows
It's
because the
insane. Yeah.
masters numbers are just growing so much in our sport. So when did you do your pro debut then?
I did it in, San Antonio for the San Antonio Masters.
Okay.
Yes,
How
and
did that go?
I got 4th, and it was, I mean, I knew it was gonna be hard, I didn't go into it thinking I was gonna
Yeah.
get place, honestly. I'm sorry, I didn't get 4th, I think I got 6th. That's what it was, I got 6th. I did not make top 5, that's what it was. I think
Okay.
I got 6th. And then I went and did the Caribbean, Bahama. There was another one that I
I've had
did.
my eye on that one. I've seen that
Yeah,
one.
that's
Yeah,
so
you can win a
fun.
pro card there too.
Yes, you can. Yes,
Yeah.
that is an
Yeah.
amazing show. If anybody out there, y'all should do that because that's such a fun show. My husband went with me to that too. I got 4th at that one,
Okay.
and that one was, I mean, it's all subjective. I mean, you got to do this because you like to do it. You can't do it because you want to win every time. So I don't get that upset. Like now that I'm a pro, I'm like, I'm just happy to be up there with all the, the people that are up there that have worked so hard to get
Yeah.
to the pro level. So
Yeah.
it's just a whole nother level. I mean, it's definitely harder. Um, and honestly, even in the Caribbean show, whenever the top judge came back to speak to like the girls, all of us, he was like,
Mhm.
Dusty, you're in great, you're in your tip top condition. And of course, I know that because I know how hard I work. I mean, I work really hard.
Mhm.
But I think sometimes when I get closer to a show, I get a little, it's so subjective in bikini that you don't know, sometimes I get a little too strict on myself, and maybe I shouldn't be so strict on myself, and maybe I should eat a little bit more carbs to just fill out a little bit more. It's just like that fine line of making sure that you just don't go over or under. So
Mhm.
it's just whatever that day is, what I look like is how you're going to get it. So, and I do
So
work really hard, and
okay.
I don't really, I'm not, now that I'm a pro, I'm not going to go up there and think I'm going to win. I'm just going to go up there and do my best. And if I win because I deserve to win, then that's great. If not, if I place, that's great too. I mean, I get to be in the camaraderie of other, girls that love to do what we do. So that part of it makes it that much more fun. I'm not a big talker before the show. Like,
Okay.
I'm focusing like on the actual competition because I've worked so hard to get there. So
Yeah.
kind of zone out a little bit, in the back. But then
Mm.
after like the first time we go on, then I'll open up and talk a little bit more to everybody, and, get to know everybody a little bit more rather than in the very beginning, because I just want to be focused.
Yeah.
So,
So if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying that the judges sometimes say that you're a little too conditioned and you're too hard as your feedback? Is that what you're
not,
saying?
I wouldn't say too conditioned. They liked it that I'm conditioned.
Mhm.
It was just maybe I needed to eat a little bit more. Like there was
To
even
fill
one
out your
time, I think,
muscles.
yeah, there was one time where I did a show. It was here in Texas, and the judges told me to go eat a hamburger in
Mhm.
between in the shows, and I did, and sure enough I came back a little bit fuller and I won. But I mean,
Oh,
it's
wow.
just interesting how, I mean, how food science is. I mean, it is bizarre. I mean, what it does to you. I mean, I always look better the next day after I've like gone out to eat after the show, and maybe had, and I don't go crazy even after a show because I just don't, my number one thing, I guess, is taking a shower and getting cleaned up.
That's
And
like
then
Lee
like,
Marie.
yeah, I'm like, I can't, the tan is just disgusting to me. I mean, I love the way it looks, but I just don't like the feeling of it. So I like to go get cleaned up and take off all my makeup because I don't want to wear, I don't even wear much makeup as it is. So I want to take it all off and just feel fresh and then just go eat a good meal and maybe eat one little treat and that's it, and then just kind of maybe the next 2 days kind of, the same thing and then go right back into just my normal eating because I don't like to feel like yuck. It just makes me feel gross to eat really, really, really a lot of food because when you're that shrank at that time, it's not good to go and overeat. And I know a lot of girls do that and I just don't recommend it. I just think it's not healthy.
Yeah.
Um, that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Um,
Did
but
you have
and
any
even then,
questions, Shelby?
oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I talk a lot.
Oh, no, you're fine. Sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut
Well,
off your,
I was gonna
um,
say that, like, I mean, even like when I'm not like right now, even when I'm not like in my best of like right at going into a show, I'm
mhm.
still about like 5 pounds, like wagering. So I'm
Okay.
never really too off of what I would
Yeah.
go in to compete with. So,
Okay.
yeah, that's just kind of the way I like to do it.
Yeah. Lee, did you have a question that you wanted to ask?
Yeah, so I would love to hear you talk about your opinion on being a natural athlete. And I know you mentioned that. And then because I love how it's becoming a little bit more common to talk about being natural versus enhanced in our industry, and just kind of your take on how genetics play into that, how your opinion on how probable or likely it could be for someone listening to try and shoot for their pro card, especially as a master's athlete without being enhanced, with being a natural athlete. And yeah, just your take on that.
Yes, I've actually heard, I mean, I know that Ben Weider had one last year, right? That was not for masters though, but I hope that they do for masters. I think that would be amazing because I feel like, genetics do play a big role. I think there's some girls that are just genetically like muscular. I mean, that's just the way I think, we're made up of. It depends on your mother and your father or down the line.
You think that you are
I'm
genetic?
sorry?
You think that you are kind of genetically favored towards?
Definitely. I gain muscle really easy. Um, I'm just very muscular. I mean, that's just how I've always been. Even when I always cheered through high school and college, and then I cheered for the Rockets, like I said, for 2 years. So I've always tumbled. I did gymnastics. I've always kind of been very active. And always like, people would always say, your legs are so muscular. I'm like, I can't help it. It's just the way that I am. Um, and if I wanted to, if I really wanted to get big, I'm sure if I ate a lot more and, lifted a lot heavier, I'm sure I could be bigger, but I just, I don't want to. I want to be in the bikini division.
Mhm.
So, it just depends on what your preference is. But
Mhm.
I do believe, I think the natural shows are an amazing idea. I mean, and the random testing, I think it's great. I don't know how effective that will be because I know that some people could probably get away with like testing and still
Right.
doing it. I don't know how that will go, but um I definitely think it's great though for people, especially in their 50s. I mean, because I'm sure there's people that are in 50s that don't want to do enhancements. And I would never, I just don't want to do that. I just don't think it's healthy for your body. I mean, it's not healthy for your age. It's just not, I mean, you hear of all the people that die, from it. It's not for me. I'm not going to judge other people. I mean, your body is yours. You can do what you want. But for me, no, but I think the natural is great though. I think
Yeah.
it's great for,
I love too that you are such like a poster child for how to do it in a healthy way, because I think a lot of it is people just assume bodybuilding is an extreme sport and people are just gonna, like, you either can't do it for very long because it's
right.
extreme and unhealthy, or you're gonna die from it because
Yeah.
it's extreme and
Yeah.
unhealthy. But you're doing it in a way that just supports a healthy lifestyle, and you're in the best shape of your life in your 50s. That's incredible.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's fun. I mean, it's it's really neat when people come up to you and ask you like, what do you do? Or, and I love that. I love to be able to talk to people and just, say, hey, you know what, you can do it too. And it's nice to be an inspiration when you're older. Because life's not over when you turn 50. I'll tell you that. It's not over. It might just be beginning. I really do. I mean, as long as you're healthy and you're, okay, I think that's great. I mean, you can live and do what you want. I mean, I just don't think that life should stop at that moment. I mean, a lot of people retire when they're 70, and my mom's 78 and she still works. I mean, she still gets up really early and goes and does and does, like she's always out there. So, I just don't think I don't want to stop. I don't want to be bored. I want to do things, your life's not over. I mean, look at
Yeah.
Arnold. I mean, I'm about to do the fashion show there. And I mean, look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, he's still doing all kinds of things. He's got his hands in all kinds of stuff. I just think you should never stop until you die. I mean, why?
Mhm.
There's no point unless you're disabled or something happens to you, or, you have to, you know, reorganize your lifestyle to whatever you have. But as long as you're healthy, get out there and do, don't stop moving.
So you had mentioned that your husband's super supportive, and I think, for people you had competed probably before you guys got together, right?
Yes, I
In your
did.
20s.
Yes, in my 20s. Yeah.
So kind of, shifting that gear in the last 2 years into that lifestyle, has he kind of adopted some habits, or what does it look like at home? Like, because you had mentioned your daughter's still at home in high school,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes.
So how do
Actually,
you get that whole dynamic to kind of like, how does that work for you?
that's interesting. I never really pushed health like on my kids because I didn't want to be that mother or even my husband either. I never pushed it on them to like, you need to be this way or you can't eat that or don't eat cookies or,
Yeah.
I never wanted to be that mom or that wife because I think everybody, like I said, as a person, you know what you want to do and he knows what he wants to do and my kids are going to do what they want to do. So I didn't want to make that such a military command in our family that everybody had to eat this way. I wanted everybody to eat whatever they wanted. And so by me just showing by example, I think I have rubbed off on my husband and my two kids, which is so interesting because my son, he actually picked up working out, I guess probably when he was like a junior in high school. And now
Okay.
he does it like religiously. He even like he does this fasting thing, which I don't fast, but he's all into like, being healthy and working out, even just like in his room. I mean, just without even weights. So I mean, he does that. And then my daughter kind of picked up on it. And just like I would say when she was like a junior as well, she started to get more conscious of it. She's a cheerleader in high school. And
Okay.
I think that she really started, they never ate sushi. I mean, I'm a huge sushi eater because that's kind of like the only meal that like we can go out to eat like because it's very healthy. You can go
Yeah.
out and have your sashimi and your rice and your salad. You can have your portions of protein, carbs, and vegetables. Um, so I just really enjoy eating out with them, eating sushi, and now they like it too. But my husband and my daughter have a sweet tooth. And so sometimes I'll make them cookies at night. So, I mean, I would never take that away from them. And I mean, I'm not to say that I don't pick up one or two here and there either. I'm not going to lie. I'm human. I mean, we're all human. And I'm going to
Yeah.
have those nights or days where I'm like, you know what? I want to pick at that and I want to eat one. And I do. And I'm not going to lie. I mean, I'm a normal person just like anybody else. I'm just not going to sit there and absorb myself into it. But I'm
Yeah.
not going to limit myself either. And that's the thing I think a lot of girls do in the sport is they limit themselves and then they go crazy and they eat too much, and then they
Mhm.
gain all the weight back. And then it's like that much harder to get back down. And I'm like, you really shouldn't. I mean, even in your off season, I think it's great if you need to, get a little bigger and gain a little bit of weight, but do it a healthy way. Don't go off and eat really, really bad to gain 5 or 10 pounds that you want to come back down do it healthy, eat healthy.
Yeah, it's kind of like that bulking mentality where you end up basically adding on the fat, and then by the time you have to pull the fat off, you kind of lose the muscle that you gained in that time just because it's such a fast, like, bulking process. Dirty bulking. I don't like that. I like the lean
Yeah.
gain, like you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, just go ahead. I mean, you can eat. You can definitely up your calories. I mean,
Sure. Sure.
you're not like in those last 6 weeks of prep where you're like, down to 1,600 calories. I mean, usually, I mean, like right now, I'm probably eating over 20, almost 2,500 calories a day right now.
Wow.
I mean, what I eat, and it depends on your body. I mean, everybody's body is different. So don't do what I do because you're gonna have to do what you need to do. So it depends what your body can take and what you need. Unfortunately, have a fast metabolism, so I'm able to eat, quite a bit. And it's interesting because it is a food science. I mean, it really is. It's what you eat, what you put in your body is what's going to help you gain that weight, the good fats. So if you want to gain weight, you can do the good fats and add that on and a little bit more carbs. And then that way you will gain weight in a healthier way versus going to eat McDonald's or Burger King or whatever is out there.
Yeah.
And believe me, I love a good burger too every once in a while. I'm not gonna lie. Once again, I like a burger and fries every once in a while. And that's actually good for your body, I think, every once in a while. But everything in moderation. I think everything
Yeah.
in moderation.
What's your next show plan?
I'm doing the Clash March 30th. I've never done the Clash before, so this will be
Okay.
my first time to do it.
So you're pretty close, especially if you're
Yeah.
doing the Arnold fashion show that's in 24 days.
Yes, 24
I'll
days.
see you.
Yeah, I know. I'm
You can
excited to
tell
see
I'm
you.
I'm going to.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. It's going to be a fun show.
Yeah, it
A
will be.
fashion show for me. Yeah. Are you
Yeah.
doing the actual Arnold?
No, just the fashion show.
Okay. Very
Yeah.
cool.
I'm coaching, my first wheelchair bodybuilder, in the amateur, so I'm excited
That
for her. Yeah.
is amazing. That's so
Yeah.
cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. Well, good luck to
So
you.
thank you. Yeah, and
Or
I'll
her.
see you soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
So can you tell us, since you have this, knowledge of when the NPC first started and then now, I mean, what are the differences in, did you have a coach then? Is like the method that you use to prep so much different than when you were 20 versus 50, and kind of like compare and contrast on like how your preps were, and maybe you didn't say, were you in the NPC doing fitness?
There was not a NPC.
There wasn't NPC
I
at
don't
that
even know if
time.
it was around at that time.
Okay.
I'm not
But it
sure.
was the NI, well, I'm not familiar with the sanction that you had mentioned
I did
earlier.
Miss Fitness USA, and then I did
Okay.
the Galaxy, which is like
Okay.
a obstacle course, and then also we would model our suits.
Oh my gosh.
So that was
Okay.
what was back then.
Okay.
Then when I came back into it, I started off with NFF, which is another uh, company that also does shows like NPC. They're
Okay.
not as big as NPC, but that's where I started when I
So
came back.
did you have a coach back then when you were doing those other
I
competitions?
did. I did. His
Okay.
name was Roger Applewhite, and he was like the most in shape. I mean, he was such a in good shape guy. I mean, like he was a great trainer. And then also Keith Klein was my nutritionist, and he's really popular here in Houston.
Okay.
He's actually friends with Labrada, the
Oh yeah.
hunter's
Uh-huh.
dad.
Mhm.
Um, so I know that because he interviewed him recently on one of his podcasts, which I thought was interesting to hear him again because I haven't talked to Keith Klein in forever. But whenever I got my meal plan from Keith Klein, it was like I barely was eating anything up until my show. It was like 1,200 calories. I mean, and that
Okay.
I guess that would be the difference today versus then is like
Uh-huh.
it was much more little food than there is today. Like they want me to eat more versus not to eat so much back then. So, which is
Okay.
great. I mean, and that's another thing I feel like, which is a good thing, I think, for bikini, is that they're making it to where you can't be too lean or you need to have some fluff on you because it's healthier. And it is. and that's great for the girls that have it. And sometimes it's hard for me because I am very muscular. So it's hard for me to get that, like I said, that fine line. But I just, like I said, I'll just keep trying until, you know, when I walk on the stage, if it's not my day, that's great. If it's not, it's not.
Yeah.
So I just enjoy competing. But yes, I think that there was definitely just it was more hardcore meal plans, but now I think the meal plans are a little bit more, more carbs, which is good. And we need
Yeah.
carbs. It gives you energy. We
Mhm.
don't need to go on stage and be water deprived or because I think a lot of girls, and I hear girls too in the back, sometimes they might do a shot or, I mean, there's different things that I think are just way out of line. I mean, I just, in my opinion, it's just not my,
When you
uh,
say shot, you mean a shot of alcohol and not like an
yes, yeah,
injection.
like
Yeah,
tequila or I
I've
don't,
seen people do
just to
that.
make them vascular or whatever it is that's going to make things happen.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's very healthy. I do think, I mean,
Yeah.
the day of your show, you can maybe not drink your gallon of water that you have, or, that you usually drink two a day. I mean, maybe drink 2 bottles of water, I mean, at least get through your day without like dying. I just don't think that's very healthy, like your next step up of bodybuilding where they really have to, shrink up, for the show. And it's not like that in bikini, not
Yeah,
anymore.
and I think too, the our standard of what is like the muscle, the acceptance of the female body having muscle, I think has really changed a lot in the last even 5 years. Even if you look at bikini and you look at what was getting awarded as Miss Bikini Olympia, when it first started in 2009 or whatever, there wasn't much muscle. And now I love that they're celebrating that. And I think that's why probably, like you were saying, the food's changed a lot too, because you can't really support that muscle growth if you're kind of starving
No,
yourself
not at
and
all.
things.
I mean, and that's just
Yeah.
not, I mean, girls should not be going into the show like almost passing out. They should
Yeah.
be healthy and feel good on that day. I mean, that's just like, there's no fun in it when you do that.
Yeah.
I just, and unless you want to be a, more stepped up of, figure or, physique and all the different other ones. I
Mhm.
mean, but bikini's not like that. Not
Yep.
anymore. Mm-mm.
Lee, did you have any other questions?
Sure, yeah. I just would like you to, so you talked about how your diet has kind of evolved as you've grown into this industry. Would you say that your training style or techniques or your mindset going into the gym has changed or evolved?
Um, I love going to the gym. It's like I said, it's like a check off my list. It's like brushing my teeth every day. So it's just something I like to do. And I always have done it. I have a gym here in my house, or I'll go to the gym down the street. So I actually have 2 different locations that I can go. If I don't want to go to the gym, I can actually still go in the back. And I've always had the discipline to be able to still do it without someone standing there and telling me what to do. I mean, even my fitness trainer right now, I mean, she's not here watching me. I mean, my posing coach only sees me twice a week. They aren't micromanaging me. So it's really up to me, to make things happen. And fortunately, because of my background and what I've done all my life, it's just kind of ingrained in me that I really enjoy being fit and I like to feel good. So, um, I do definitely, I think that some people think you have to lift really, really heavy to gain muscle. That I don't think is true. I do think you do need to lift to your limit, but I don't think you need to be lifting, especially at my age. I don't think you need to go and lift to where you're going to hurt yourself because at this age, it is easier to hurt yourself versus someone that's y'all's age, younger. I just think that you need to be a little bit more careful.
Mhm.
Um, you don't want to hurt your spine. You don't, I mean, I do think some heavyweight for sure, but not like 5 rows of 45s on each side and doing squats. I mean, it's just, I don't need to do that. And I think if you just know your limit, and as long as you're getting the resistance and you're feeling it, um, and you're doing, maybe more weight and some reps, I think it works out just fine. But again, well, let's go back to genetics. I mean, I think sometimes genetics play a huge part in the way you're built too. And it
Mhm.
takes time. And like my coach always says, you know, Rome was not built overnight. And I totally agree with her. It is not built overnight. I mean, it's taken me a while to just grow my glutes and things like that. I mean, everybody doesn't have a perfect, you know, physique where you have the shoulders, you have the butt, you have the legs, you have the, you know, it's not, it takes time. And that's
Mhm.
something that people need to remember when they come into the sport, because when you start off, you might not be that look that they're looking for. But if you listen and you listen to the judges every time and you work on the parts that you need to work on, maybe a little bit more than the others when you go into the gym, or maybe multiple more times during the week than you normally would, then you probably will progress and get to that level that you need to get at.
And you have a very, solid foundation too with your gymnastics background and things like that. I mean, Ashley Kay was a gymnast as well. And just the, when you work out in your 20s and you're lifting weights, you have that foundation too. So,
Yeah, you never
um,
lose it. I think if, you know,
yeah.
my daughter was a gymnast when she was, you know, younger, and when she just started working out, she was a gymnast from 2 to age, I want to say 11, and then she quit, and now she's 17. And I can see already that just in the couple of years that she started working out again, I can see her muscle definition coming back. I mean,
Hmm.
her abs and her arm, like I see her triceps. I'm like, I see your tricep, you know, and it's
Hmm.
just like, it's cool because I know that she already laid that foundation when she was younger, because she
Yeah.
was ripped as a little gymnast, you know, when she was younger. And now it's like that will never go away.
Yep.
Um,
Do you
and
think she'll ever compete and follow in your
um,
footsteps?
well, she did Miss Teen USA
Oh,
last
okay.
summer, which was not a fitness show, but it is a
Yeah.
pageant,
Yeah.
something a little similar. She did have to wear a fitness outfit, not a bikini, because they've changed the
Okay.
guidelines in Miss Teen USA.
Okay.
Now you wear a fitness outfit when you're a teen, and then when you go into the Miss USA, you wear a two-piece. So
Okay.
yes, I thought that was really neat that she actually did that, and she
Yeah.
actually placed in the top 15 out of like 60 something girls. It was really
Wow.
neat. It was a great experience. Now she's getting ready for college, trying to figure out where she wants to go. Um, I don't think she wants to do it again, but she, you know, she watches me do all these shows, you know, like she knows about it. And actually I even have asked her, you know, do you want to walk with me in a fashion show, you know? And she's like, yeah, sure. So hopefully one of these days she'll come with me to a fashion show and walk in one and maybe see a show and be able to see what, you know, really kind of goes on. And she knows how hard that I work and how much I put into it. And she knows how hard it is. I mean, she just did a 10K, and so she got ready for that. And so she was running, you know, her 6 miles, you know, every other day. And she did really good. She actually ran the 10K and won her division.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I mean, there's other things other than just, you know, the bodybuilding shows that we do that they can do too. So she hasn't actually wanted to do it yet, but I mean, and like I said, I don't really push things on them. I let them decide whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
So hopefully, maybe, you never know, she might. But for now, we got to get her in college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lee, did you have any other questions for Dusty?
I don't think so.
Dusty, was there anything that we didn't ask you that you would like to share with our audience, or any closing thoughts or advice, tips for the listeners?
I just think that, you know, if you love to do something and you have a passion for it, do it. I mean, I just think that you're never too old. It's never too late. Don't give up. Yeah. And
I
stay
love
healthy. I mean, I think it's very important. I mean, in this day and time, there's just so much out there, and it's important.
that.
So
Yeah.
that's
Well,
my
we
take.
appreciate your time so much. If anyone wanted to reach out to you or tag you on their story showing you that they listened, or if they have questions that they want to reach out with, how can they get a hold of you?
They can go on my Instagram at it's fit to be Dusty, FIT number 2 and letter B, and then Dusty DUSTEE underscore IFBB Bikini Pro. So
Awesome.
Yeah, they
We'll
can read
put that
that.
in the show
Oh,
notes too, in case
okay,
people
awesome.
didn't catch that.
Didn't catch
Just in
that.
case.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, if you would like to, share some love, we are on Instagram as well at Prep Life Podcast or at Glam Girl Bikini. So let us know, and Dusty, tag us all and let us know what you thought of the episode. And if you would like to apply for your unicorn prep at Glam Girl, you can go to glamgirlbikini.com and hit the Get Started button. Uh, Thank you
Awesome.
so much for your time
Thank
today.
you
I
for having
really
me.
appreciate it.
I'm honored to be on here. Thank you.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Bye.